Hi, I'm John Davidson. I'm in Miami, Florida, and today we are with Joby Weeks, the Bitcoin evangelist from the early 2010s, notorious Department of Justice. What would you call yourself?
A rebel rouser.
Oh, that's my kind of people.
Yeah.
We're going to cover a lot of Joby's story, but first we're going to watch a quick video that we put together that sort of explains his story and why he's here and what he's been through. In 2010, when Bitcoin was worth less than $1, Joby Weeks saw a future in the digital currency. In 2015, he became a computer hardware vendor and promoted an organization called BitClub, and Joby sold the group the computers and hardware they needed to put servers all over the planet. But Joby was never a manager or owner of BitClub and had no decision-making ability in the organization. Joby traveled the world promoting BitClub and libertarian ideals. He helped buy, install, and build server farms outside the United States for BitClub. All transactions occurred in Bitcoin instead of US dollars, and BitClub was closed off to American investors. In other words, BitClub operated outside of United States jurisdiction and regulation. According to blockchain, before it was confiscated, BitClub has mined over 92,000 Bitcoins and 500,000 Ethereum. But what was Bitcoin? And more importantly, how were global governments going to tax it, track it, and control it? The law was not clear. Bitcoin was supposedly created by an elusive figure named Satoshi Nakamoto. According to Google AI, in Japanese, Satoshi means intelligence, and Nakamoto means from central origin. Who does that remind you of? In 2019, Joby found out about an investigation into him by the Department of Treasury. With the help of contacts at the CIA, on April 19, 2019, Joby met with a Department of Treasury officer, offered information about BitClub, and explained his issues with BitClub leadership. The Treasury officer's notes indicate Joby had no control over BitClub and wanted to help the US government catch hackers and international criminals. In December 2019, due to the actions of the owners of BitClub and an overzealous Department of Justice, Joby Weeks was arrested by the United States government, locked up in various prisons for 11 months, and put in a situation where it was either confess to a crime he didn't commit or spend the rest of his life behind bars. At that point, Joby had amassed nearly $500 million in digital currency. Despite no valid reason to do so, agents of the government took Joby's Bitcoin wallet, denying him the ability to legally defend himself properly. The crux of the government's indictment of Joby is strange. The indictment shows Joby told BitClub users to use a VPN, which is simply smart security advice. In his meeting with the Treasury officer, Joby discussed being hacked by a transsexual Filipino hacker who took over $20 million from him. Clearly, security was important. Another section shows emails and messages where he demanded more transparency from BitClub management. And the Department of Justice's smoking gun against Joby? In a communication where Joby was negotiating new server purchases with the owners of BitClub, he stated, "We can't just sell people mining hardware in BitClub and then not use the money to buy equipment. It's not right. BitClub makes 20% regardless of the price." Under tremendous duress and increasing pressure from the government's targeting of digital currency, Joby was denied bail, his right to a speedy trial, and states he was tortured until he took a plea deal, which included a crime he wasn't even indicted for: tax evasion. Once out of prison, he was placed under house arrest. Due to the nature of his coerced plea deal, Joby fired his attorneys, filed countersuits against the government, and asked a federal judge to revoke his plea. We reached out to Amjad, the Treasury officer who met with Joby, for comment and received no response. For 5 years, Joby has been under house arrest, denied access to his lawfully obtained funds, and trapped in his own home with no access to the internet, a computer, or a cell phone. It's one of the most egregious violations of due process and civil rights we've ever seen, and a perfect example of the kind of lawfare exacted on citizens through government overreach. Now, Bitcoin is worth nearly $120,000 per coin, meaning the US government not only robbed Joby of his wealth, but when it cracked down on BitClub, the US government also seized the servers that investors had purchased to mine the currency. how many BitClub investors were defrauded, not just by the actions of BitClub's owners, but by the federal seizure of servers and assets. I recently met with Joby Weeks in an interview on a very important day in his life, the day his son was born. This interview is significant not just because of the crimes against Joby, but to highlight problems in our government we need to fix. Presenting the trials of Joby, a BrokenTruth.tv exclusive interview. So, Joby, thank you for being willing to meet with me and tell this crazy story that you have lived for, really more than a decade. But the last 5 years have been tremendously horrible from what it looks like. So tell me about it.
Not all horrible. Today was a great day. My son was just...
That's true. That's right.
Mary King Sinclair Weeks.
That's incredible.
He was born at 2:22 p.m. and 22 inches long or tall. So a pretty big baby.
Wow.
And so here we are at the hotel or the hospital. There's a hotel side of the hospital. We're just staying here for mom to recover.
Yeah, we're at Mount Sinai in Miami Beach.
Here in Miami. It's pretty.
It's the most beautiful thing. So now you are under house arrest.
I am. I've got this great electronic monitor, ankle bracelet, which is a lot cheaper than what they normally charge in terms of your kidnapping insurance and extortion and stuff like that. They usually charge like CEOs of high-powered companies $50,000 a year, and I only have to pay $5 a day for this. And if somebody kidnaps me, they come, they'll rescue me.
That's so nice.
And I've only had luckily, I've had it for 6 years now, so I'm really excited about it.
That's a good take on it.
Much cheaper than doing it through the private side.
In all seriousness, did you have a difficult time getting permission to come to the hospital with your wife?
It wasn't difficult to come to the hospital, but it was difficult to be able to come to Miami, be with my wife as she gave birth. I had to have a hearing for it. They had put me on house arrest at my parents' place, and I love my parents, but after over a year on house arrest there, it was time for a change of location. Change of scenery. And my wife has family here in Florida, so she came down here, and thank God Judge Hammer granted my request to join her and be here for the birth of my son. And so here we are now. We haven't slept since Friday. She was in labor from Friday, gave birth on Sunday. This is like a long time. So, just hanging out with mom and the baby, and I'm glad you were able to come down and say hi.
When I learn more about your story and really get invested in it, the part that kind of bothers me is the lack of transparency in the federal government's case, the refusal to do discovery, right? Isn't that a thing? Can you explain that?
Yeah, there's a lot of problems. In America, according to the Constitution, you get indicted, you get arrested, you get bail, you get a trial, and if after trial you're convicted, then you go to jail.
Yeah.
But due process, that's what it's called.
Sure.
But in my case, I was indicted, and then I wouldn't turn over my Bitcoin because I figured I needed Bitcoin to hire a lawyer, pay for bail, all that stuff. And so it was perturbing to the agents there who then, I guess, wanted to take revenge because I ended up for 11 months being bounced around the country from jail to jail to jail to jail and state to state to state. My family didn't know where I was. Every time they found out what jail I was off to a new jail. And so when you get bail denied and a trial denied and 6 years later, you've never been convicted of a crime yet, you're still wearing this ankle bracelet. I can't go anywhere, do anything, have a phone or a computer. I can't have a bank account, use crypto, have a job, go to church or the gym, and now I'm doing 2 drug tests a week when none of this has anything to do with drugs.
Right.
I just feel like some might consider it leftover lawfare from the Biden regime.
Well, yeah, you started this started in 2019 under Trump, and then the Biden regime, I guess, kicked it into overdrive.
Well, back then, Trump won his first term. I don't think very many people really understood what Bitcoin was back then. There wasn't a Bitcoin strategic reserve. It wasn't Goldman Sachs and BlackRock doing it,
Yeah.
The a lot's changed in the last 6 years. And so I can understand the hostility. Not a lot of people knew about it.
I still don't really get it.
Banks, I mean, it's a serious threat to the banks.
It is.
Because why would you want to take 2 hours to set up a bank account, have all these fees and frozen accounts, and the money gets worth less and less and less and less every day? Inflation is theft. Inflation's a tax, right?
Sure.
When you could have a currency that's instant, global, pop, 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 gets more and more valuable every day. There's only going to be 21 million Bitcoins. When I got into Bitcoin, it was 85 cents. Then I watched it go to $10, to $100, to $1,000, to $2,000. Now it's $100,000.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
So it just gets more and more valuable as more and more people start to use it. Just like anything. I mean, Facebook, if there was only 2 people using Facebook,
right,
it's not very valuable, but you got 2 billion people using it. Now you got a valuable company.
Yeah.
It's just the same with Bitcoin. The more people that use it, the more businesses that accept it, the more valuable it becomes. And people like the idea of an immutable ledger where you could send value across the internet without having to go through a trusted third party.
Right.
And the transparency of the whole thing. On the blockchain, every Satoshi, every penny is recorded. So it's totally transparent. You can find out who's a scammer, who's not instantly. And, the amount of time that it takes to send a wire from Japan to New York, I could do thousands of Bitcoin transactions. Sure enough, it'll close Bitcoin on Saturday and Sunday,
right,
and holidays.
It's very confusing. Digital currency is still confusing to a lot of people. Not as anywhere like it was, though, in 2013, 2014, 15, 16.
Is it if it was property? Is it free speech? Is it a commodity? Is it a security? Is it money? It's not defined as money still.
Okay.
Is it an asset? I mean, so different government organizations were trying to classify it so they could take jurisdiction, and it was all really a gray area back 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And my thought is, as always, this: in times of change, the learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with the world that no longer exists.
Yeah.
So I always try to push the envelope, learn new things. Nobody's there teaching it,
right?
Which in the case of Bitcoin, nobody knew what it was. So I had to self-teach myself about it.
Right.
And I'm just kind of a doer. Instead of having somebody have to drag me across the finish line, I just go out and figure it out myself. I've always been like that. I've always kind of been ahead of most of the trends.
Yeah.
And so this one was harmless. It's just setting up a data center. Buckminster Fuller said it best. He said, don't challenge the status quo head on. Just invent a better system, and then the market will naturally shift, and you don't have to be at battle or at war with anybody.
Yeah.
And it's made it like Ron Paul always said, in this Free Competition of Currencies Act and Pillars of Prosperity and Liberty Defined and A Foreign Policy of Freedom and Audit the Fed and all these books he wrote. It was a great influence on me. It's competition makes everything better. Prices right bound, quality goes up. Only under a monopoly is there no innovation because there's no incentive to compete.
Yeah.
And it really concerned me, being a son of a economics and a history teacher. My father is an intellectual. His grandfather was the Secretary of War under Presidents Harding and Coolidge. He was on the Monetary Commission that created the Federal Reserve Bank. His fund started Boeing and Lockheed Martin and, the Council on Foreign Relations. And his son was Secretary of Commerce under Eisenhower. So learning about the founding of our history, I was in it, that we were officers in the American Revolution. We love the American Republic. And it concerned me that all 10 planks now of communism via the Communist Manifesto, all 10 planks are now law in our country. And so I don't like to see a country I love get destroyed from within.
Me either.
And I see that Bitcoin is a wonderful solution because really everything comes back down to the money. And, one of the planks is a graduated income tax. It's a plank of communism, not capitalism and freedom. A central bank, Federal Reserve Bank, that's in the Communist Manifesto. So, I'm all about distributing power, distributing money, distribution. That's why we have 50 distributed states.
Sure.
50 separate republics with their own legislators and judicial and Congress people and executive branches, etc., rather than just one, right? So I love America. We've helped found this country. My family, we've been here we came over on the Mayflower, and I want to defend it. I want to restore the de jure constitutional republic. And if you saw something that you loved get infiltrated and hijacked and destroyed from within,
right,
you would be a little concerned too.
I agree. completely. 5 years you've been locked up. Almost 6 years. It's interesting to me that this occurred to you right as COVID was coming out. Right after, maybe, or right before, sorry.
December 10th, yeah. So COVID.
Oh my gosh, that was 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
COVID started.
And it was interesting because while everybody else was locked down, they were still flying me all over.
Oh yeah.
Jail to jail to jail. I was laughing. I was like, everybody's locked out except me. They all think I'm locked down, but here I am flying around while they can't even go outside their homes.
What does it do to a person locked away from society for 5 years? I mean, we have tremendous mental illness outbreaks that were caused by COVID or enhanced by COVID. We have people still recovering. Children suffered mightily.
It's horrible what they did. I mean, even in jail. I mean, throw people in jail without first convicting them of a crime. This is one of the reasons why they have a 97% success rate in convictions.
Sure.
Is because they'll hold you in jail for 2 years, 3 years. They've never even indicted you. They're in on a complaint. These poor people don't know the law, so they don't know to even demand these types of things. And then the prosecutors eventually come and say, listen, we have to eventually give you a trial, but if you fight us, you're looking at 20 years. Or if you just sign this piece of paper, you can go home tomorrow. Well, no one in their right mind is going to stay and fight them if they can just sign a piece of paper, go home, time served the next day. And so that's why they have this 97% success rate on convictions, is because they break the law and they send people to jail before they've been convicted of a crime. Right. And in my case, it was 72 hours locked in the cage without even being let out to take a shower. I mean, hardened criminals that murder people get 23 hours in, 1 hour out every day, 23 in, 1 hour out. I was in there 72 hours locked in a bathroom, janitor's closet bathroom for 72 hours. Never harmed anybody. I've had no criminal history, no criminal past.
So there's no victim to your crimes.
No victim for my crimes.
And yeah, and when we say crimes,
didn't like that computer. I'm going to say a computer is a security. If what I was doing
was not
legal.
How much were the computers worth? It was
$500 all the way up to you could buy a block box for $1 million.
So you're basically busted for selling computers.
Physical Bitcoin mining hardware, computer equipment that they can depreciate. It's a product, not a security. I mean, that's why SEC's now dropped all these things against Bitcoin miners. There's that Todd Blanche memo that came out in July 7th saying, drop these stupid cases that, I mean, we harm nobody. That wasn't even me. It was an organization called BitClub. I was a vendor selling BitClub computer equipment. They were buying from China, getting raped on their prices. I have a friend that ran a company called Bitfury that made these chips that gave them a better price. I brokered the deal, saved the members millions of dollars, not only off the cost of the computer equipment that the club purchased, but off their power bills as well. I found them much cheaper electricity. But if you can save 1 penny on 100 megawatts, right, running a data center, that's $8 million a year savings.
How many? So, well, there were 3 data centers?
They had a data center in Norway, in Canada, in Montana, in Iceland, one in Tbilisi, Georgia. So I went around vetting this club, met the owners, liked them. I became a member myself because I wanted to mine crypto too.
Sure.
And I told my friends and family, my people I love and respect, you know, I would never scam my mom, nothing more dad. It's like myself. It was like, I was a member of the club. Why would I? Anyways, I didn't own BitClub. I didn't run BitClub. I was a happy customer or member, and I was selling them equipment. You know, they say BitClub raised $700 million and it was a big fraudulent Ponzi scam. They don't talk about how those data centers, they took that money, bought mining hardware that mined Bitcoin, 92,000 Bitcoins, mined 500,000 Ethereum. That's $10 billion today. You take in 700 million and you pay back 10 billion, everybody gets rich, and then you get thrown in jail for that? Right. No victims, no injured party, no one was standing to sue. The government made a terrible mistake doing this. And this is why all the prosecutors have quit. We've gone through 4 U.S. attorneys. There's no one left. No one's left. The poor judge is sitting there holding the bag, looking around. Where'd everybody go? Slay. And they've had 33 continuances now. 33 continuances. 6 years. If we were doing what the government says we were doing, they would have taken us to trial, shown the evidence, and thrown us in jail legitimately. They can't even take us to trial. It's crazy. For something to be a crime, you have to have a victim.
Right.
If there was fraud, who is the victim? If a computer is somehow magically a security, where's the victim? It's not a crime.
Well, the victim seems to be the central banks.
Yeah. Wow. That's not a victim. There's civil statutory law, and then there's common constitutional or criminal law.
Sure.
For criminal law, you have to have the victim. Now, in civil statutory law, there's infractions, there's code violations, but they're not actual crimes because there are no victims.
Sure.
Whether Bit Club filed a piece of paper or not doesn't automatically create a victim, you know? And so the idea is, I just think that this has been an overreach of jurisdiction. And then, you know, if a guy in China tells somebody in Japan, hey, you should buy some Bitcoin mining hardware from Bit Club, how does the United States government feel like, where do they get the jurisdiction to tell a Chinese guy and a Japanese guy whether they can do business? They're not using dollars. It was Bitcoin in, Bitcoin out. They didn't touch the U.S. financial system in any way. Bit Club didn't allow U.S. citizens to join. They blocked U.S. IP addresses. They weren't a U.S. company. And it was a private membership association. So, I mean, I think that's probably why.
Oh, it's a PMA.
Prosecutors bail, they jump ship. And so then they get new prosecutors. They look at this thing and they're like, I'm out of here. And then they get new prosecutors. They look at it, I'm out of here. And it's been going on like this for 6 years. I have no idea what the record is for how long they've been able to keep somebody on pre-trial release, pre-trial with an ankle bracelet on.
Was there concern that you would flee the country?
Of course. That's what they said. They brought no witnesses, and attorneys can't be witnesses. I brought witnesses that says that I wasn't a flight risk. I got Ron Paul to write me a letter to the judge.
You know, your first daughter, your only daughter, Liberty, was born in 2019?
2018, October 22nd.
So you had a 1-year-old.
I had a 1-year-old that learned how to walk and talk without me.
And you would flee the country to...
Yeah, plus they wanted $2 million down for bail. Why would I give up $2 million, have them hunt me? And why would I do that? And now 6 years later, they still have this on. I'm like, I'm obviously not a flight risk. I have friends that have private jets. I'm here in Miami. If I was a flight risk, I could get on a yacht right now and gone I'd be.
Right.
Get on a plane, gone I'd be. I'm not, because I want my money back. I want my name. I wanted to be vindicated. I want my reputation to be repaired. And so it's hard. They say truth is treason in the empire of lies. It's hard to be right when the government is wrong. It's dangerous to be right when the government is wrong. And it's not really even the government. The government's just controlled by the banking cartel.
Sure.
And when you have this monopoly on money that springs into existence out of debt, meaning that if the national debt was paid off, there wouldn't be a dollar left circulating, but we'd still owe the interest because all the money that's created and enters our economy springs into existence out of debt. You can't pay off debt with debt. You can only discharge debt. You can't pay principal plus interest if only principal exists. It's like a game of musical chairs. There's 12 people going after 10 chairs. It's about that mathematical impossibility to pay off the debt.
Right.
So we're in this situation. Most all the countries of the world have been captured, right? And so, you know, what do? You come out with a currency that springs into existence not out of debt, but out of proof of work,
right?
Like a Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dash or Zcash or Monero or any of these other ones. Of course, you're going to look at that as a challenge to your monopoly. And you know, truth comes in 3 phases. It's not believed, it's ridiculed, it's laughed at. Then it's violently opposed, and then it's self-evident. I ended up being the nail that stuck up a little bit higher, got hairs.
Right.
And it was at the violently opposed stage. But here we are, 6 years later, it's a new America. There's a new leadership under Trump. And
so you had some challenges with your legal team, and ultimately you fired them. Is that correct?
yeah.
And then after spending 5 years, just you and a lot of law books.
Yeah, they forced me to become a lawyer, basically. I mean, if I can't watch TV, well, I can't watch TV as long as I'm not holding the remote control. Sure. Because I get bail violated. I mean, they've tried to bail violate me 4 times now since I've been out on bail. First time I got I got home an hour early from the airport, but because on my way home, my dad wanted to have me stop at a steakhouse and find me a steak since it'd been 11 months since I had a steak.
Sure.
They tried to literally throw me in jail for that, even though I was home an hour early. So stupid things like that have been going through.
You're living in hell because of a steak. I think, Roosh, can you tell me about the steak?
It was a great steak. But even when I got here to Miami, they're like, oh, you need to do 2 drug tests a week now. I'm like, my case has nothing to do with drugs.
Right.
And for the first couple days, like literally this ankle bracelet went off every 10 minutes. Buzzing, yelling at me, beeping. I hit it a couple times and stopped. 10 minutes later, buzzing, beeping, yell at me, hit it, stop. Imagine 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
4:30. I can't get the thing off my ankle. And it's buzzing every half hour or so. For days. Okay. This is happening to me. Now, I've forgiven them. I can't have, like, it's impossible to get into my brain to make me feel depressed about anything. I choose how I want to feel. I choose to ground and release and surrender and just emanate love. I've already forgiven everybody already. So you cannot make me upset about anything. I will always laugh about this situation because of how absurd it is. So the more absurd, the funnier it is to me. It is sad that when you turn $700 million and you give $10 billion back, that when you Google yourself on the internet, it makes it look like you're a criminal.
Right.
I mean, so that, my lawyers, these guys don't actually know the law, and they're the highest paid famous lawyers. And they're all just professional plea negotiators.
Right.
They don't go to trial. And so it was really frustrating. But because I'm not allowed to go anywhere or do anything, I could sit there and read the law. And that's what I did. I read 30,000 pages of law. And there's 250,000 pages in the statutes at large. Tell us 1 to 50.
Right.
If you read for 10 hours a day, it'd take you 10 years to read the law. Just federal. 10 years. At 10 hours a day. Do you know a lawyer that's done that? A judge? Prosecutor? None of them know the law.
No.
And so then they get mad at me when I read the law and I read the definitions and I figure out that they don't know what they're talking about. It's kind of like these doctors. They don't know how to cure anything because they're not supposed to know. They're all compartmentalized. It's above your pay grade. You're on a need-to-know basis, right?
Sure.
So the lawyers, the same thing. You got the securities lawyers, you've got your family court lawyers, your traffic lawyers, the military lawyers, and they got their specialties, just like your endocrinologist, your immunologist, your cardiologist. They don't understand the medical money go around, and they've been taught no disease prevention or nutrition. All they've been trained to do is give drugs that go to treat symptoms, get off insulin, install cell arthritis, or insulin, install diabetes.
Yeah.
Cell arthritis, get off chronic cell allergies. The drugs go to fix the root cause of why you're sick in the first.
Of course.
So the lawyers are like the doctors. And so what do? You have to fire them after a while. They literally took $3 million from me. They won't even give me back my retainer. I'm actually having to sue after I fire my lawyers, they're supposed to give me the retainer back. They don't even give me back my retainer. Criminals. Total criminals.
Those things, how do you feel about them now? I mean, obviously you feel the way you feel and you're allowed in the First Amendment, theoretically, the right to free speech. When do you realize that you're jousting against windmills?
Well, you shouldn't get penalized for being correct. If all 6 billion people, 7 or 8 billion people on planet Earth now, if you ask all 8 billion people what the capital of New York is, 6 billion of them are telling New York City. Doesn't change the fact that Albany, New York, is still the capital of New York, right? 6 billion people know or understand it or not.
Yeah.
I'm just the guy that's pointing out the blatantly obvious facts. Albany's the capital of New York, not New York City.
Of course.
You can't get mad at me for that. Just because you were compartmentalized and nobody told you about it, just like most of us are all compartmentalized. I mean, I was told that George Washington was the first president of the United States. So you can imagine how I felt when I learned that under the Articles of Confederation from 1776 to 1787, there were 10 presidents of the United States before George Washington. And George Washington was actually our 11th president of the United States. First under the Constitution, but our 11th president. You can imagine how I felt when I learned about John Hanson and Thomas Mifflin and Thomas McKean and Elias Boynay and Arthur Sinclair.
Sure.
I didn't know about it. I was shocked.
Wow.
So there's just a lot of things out there. They say there's things that we know we don't know, and then there's things that we don't know that we don't know.
Right.
And so, don't shoot the messenger. I realize I'm not a lawyer. Obviously, I didn't really realize that I should just have a motion to dismiss count 1, motion to dismiss count 2, motion to for seize assets to be returned, motion to. I put all my stuff all on one, these big master motions with rid of court warrant with a motion to dismiss, with all these things smashed into one master, motion that, of course, nobody wants to rule on it. So people quit, goes on, can down the road, and they're going to rule on the papers. So I've just been sprinkling the docket with more sniper-like requests. Stay focused on one topic at a time. So I got a bit ahead of myself on some of the motions early on, but now I'm staying more focused because I'm realizing that if it's short and sweet, one request, next, short and sweet, one request, next, rather than boom, here's 50 different ways you're breaking the law, right? And 50 different things you have to answer. And now they have mens rea, or knowledge. And so I ask these questions the way that they can answer, so they quit. Otherwise, they're accessories after the fact. So it's like when you point out a crime and they don't do anything about the crime, they become accessories to the crime. Interesting. So I've done that. So anybody that reads my motions, it's like taking the red pill. You can't go back.
Right.
Taking a blue pill means you didn't read my motions, you just ignored it. But once you've read them, it's undeniable. Now you have the mens rea, you have the knowledge.
What would you say has been the most difficult aspect, personally, of this last 6 years?
Not being there they destroyed my family. I was married for 15 years.
Wow.
And they set my wife against me, my daughter against me.
Your daughter's 6.
Yeah, I know. But who's the daughter going to pick sides to?
Right.
Mom or me? I was gone for a year when she was learning to walk and talk because I got kidnapped by the government for the crime of helping everyone I know, love, and care about get extremely wealthy with Bitcoin. I was correct. We started mining Bitcoin at $200. I told everybody to do it. Those who listened got incredibly well.
Well, I wish I'd known you.
No, he's not. 5 years from now when they're watching this video, it's going to be $1 million from now.
Yeah.
So it's like, shouldn't I be on the cover of Time magazine? No, they kidnapped me.
Right.
So that was hard. But it allowed me to ground, meditate, read, learn the law. And, so I could look at it 2 different ways. This can be a burden, or I can look at it and say, look, I don't have to pay for kidnapping monitoring anymore. And if somebody kidnaps, we have the U.S. government that's going to come rescue me, right? Oh, I'm in jail. Well, at least it's not a Mexican jail. Oh, I blew off my hand with a firework. Well, at least I have my other hand. So I always look at how my situation could always be worse. And then I always stay in the frequency of happiness, gratefulness, thankfulness. And that's the easiest way to go through life. If something happened in the past, you're eventually going to be over it. If I got a parking ticket and they towed my car, I'm eventually going to forget about it and drop it. So how long do I want to choose to be mad? Do I want to be mad for a month on it? Be mad for a week? I'm mad for a day? So I always look, well, I can't change the fact that my car got towed. It got towed. I can't go back in time. So I just choose to be upset for 10 seconds max, 5 seconds, 10 seconds max. Because I realize I can't change the past, so I'm going to drop it eventually. So why would I be mad for an hour or two when I could be mad for 10 seconds?
Okay. Sure.
Ground. Now I'm not mad. So that's how I be able to conquer this thing. And there's literally nothing they can do that will get me out of that mental state. And I don't fear death. I don't fear jail. There is no death.
Sure.
So it's not, how do you control someone that doesn't fear you? How do you control someone that isn't afraid to die? Because he already knows there is no death.
Well, you hurt them in other ways. You prevent them from being around children. You force them to, when they have a baby, beg just to be able to go to the hospital. And thankfully, maybe this is a good sign that they allowed you to go to the hospital without a lot of difficulty to be with your wife when she gave birth.
Leave the hospital, go take a stupid drug test just now. And then, trust me, the harassment is still there. It's okay, because this won't last forever. And karma is a real thing. They've committed a bunch of interdimensional crimes that they cannot escape. And so for me, it's like, you're on the side of the darkness or you're on the side of the light. I was telling the guy today at my probation thing, he's like, what'd you name your son? I said, Legendary. A legend was born. Oh, really? And we got to talking and I said, all my heroes all have FBI files. Martin Luther King Jr., hero. The FBI had him whacked. JFK, Gandhi, everybody that's done anything good, the evil has always tried to stop. So you guys watching this, are you on the side of the evil? Or are you on the side of the light? And some people are going to watch this, they're on the side of the evil. Some people are going to watch this and say, yeah, I want to be on the side of, when they read my motions and they realize that they're on the side of evil, they quit, or their accessories after the fact. And there's literally another crime called a misprison of a felony. So yeah. I show you that a felony is taking place and you're in law enforcement, you're a prosecutor or a judge or whatever, and now you've seen that there's a felony. You don't do anything about it. It's a misprison of a felonies, which is a crime.
Yeah.
And I lay out all the felonies that are taking place for the usurpers that have created this imposter de facto corporate state that's hijacked the rights and freedoms of millions of Americans.
Right.
So, it's a battle since the beginning of time between good and evil. Now, I would understand the harassment if I actually harm people. I mean, they would send me $50 million up front. I could have taken off. I had my own airplane. I had a diplomatic passport. I could have stolen all that money and disappeared.
Right.
But I didn't. I did what I said I was going to do because I can do a $50 million deal with a handshake. But if I did steal that money, I can understand why I'm being treated this way. I'd say, I messed up, I harmed people. But when you come after somebody that's done nothing wrong, you only embolden them. You almost make them like a martyr, like Jesus. Jesus was without sin. He did nothing wrong. They crucified her. And I'm not saying I'm Jews, but I feel like I am living out all the Bible characters. I mean, I'm named after Job, the oldest book of the Bible. He was perfect in the eyes of God. And the devil said, oh, we can get Job to curse you if you just have all his cows and the sheep die and you burn his house apart and have his whole family die. Job never cursed God. But my name, Joby, look it up, it means persecuted because of Job. Wow. My house in Mexico got hit by an earthquake. All the glass broke. $80,000 later, fix all the glass, and then it gets hit by a hurricane. Okay, I got kidnapped. I can't go to the family funerals and the weddings and stuff. So there's like the battle. But Paul, he was bounced around from jail to jail to jail to jail. And Jonah, he was in the belly of the whale, and Daniel got thrown to the lion's den, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And, look at all the I had a Judas Iscariot moment where I've been betrayed.
Sure.
I feel like now I'm Moses, let my people go, the law bearer, now that I know the law,
Yeah.
So I get to live out all these Bible character people all in the same lifetime, which is an interesting experience, actually.
Well, it's good. It's good that you have faith, and
It's 100%.
you can.
Everybody wants to think, oh, God's on my side. You want to be on God's side. On God's side, He's given me specific promises that He'll have my back if I worship and obey Him.
Sure.
None of the things that I've been accused of violates God's law.
Right.
And His law is above everything else. So that's who I play for. No man can serve two masters.
Sure.
You either worship the devil or you worship God. Worship just means obey. So there's two different kingdoms here. I'm in this kingdom. I'm not in the devil worshipping, child trafficking, pedophile kingdom.
Right.
So
Good.
as long as that's clear, I have no fear because
Yeah.
God, I'm on his team.
What would you do if you got it back? I mean, because look, this is something else too I've been thinking about. You had this huge fall. Like, I've seen the videos, Ferraris and houses and travel and amazing parties and yachts and all this incredible lifestyle that you led. Gone. Like in a heartbeat. How does it feel to go from this legendary kind of status where the world literally was your oyster to, oh, I'm sorry, I can't have that steak.
It's funny. It's crazy. I went from the freest person in the world to the most unfree person in the world. It's wild. And like,
It is.
yeah. Well, one of the things I do like to tell myself is I got the memories.
Mm-hmm.
So if I ever do feel depressed or whatever, I can look up on my wall and think, well, they couldn't put a lien on memories. They can lien your house. They can lien your car.
Sure.
But no one can take away the fact that I went to 175 countries, that my daughter is the most traveled child in the Guinness Book of World Records. I mean, by the time she was 1, she did 43, all 50 states and 43 countries, right?
Wow.
So the memories are there. So that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
But then you kind of go deeper. Is this ego? Why do I feel the need that I have to prove myself or something? And I just realized that
There is that, right? Their wrath is part of one of the 7 deadly sins, right? And I've wondered this too. Like, am I fighting something illegally? Like, or is my desire for justice and vengeance and whatever, is that wrath? Is that a sin? Right.
yeah. And the way you never get disappointed is if you never have any desire, because then you can never be hurt.
Sure.
The Buddha and Siddhartha and releasing all want and just being one with existence and these types of things. I've studied a lot of different philosophy stuff in the recent years. And, to me, I don't like to see injustice. And so I've always been, for 30 years, fighting the status quo, whether it's in the pharmaceutical, fighting the pharmaceutical cartel or the banking cartel or the oil cartel or the tobacco cartel. Or I've always been doing this for as long as I've been making money in my businesses, that I've always funded things to free humanity, And so that's just my why, is I don't want to see my friends dead slaves to banking cartel. I want them to be free. I don't want to see my friends addicted to drugs and big pharma. I want to see them healthy. I don't want my friends using tobacco that gives them cancer when they can do electronic cigarettes, which aren't that healthy, but they're healthier than, back in 2008, when we put that together.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't really know the studies behind that. But, throughout my career, I've always been focused on things that will, free humanity.
Your next steps. What is your next court date?
Oh, there isn't one.
What are we doing here? Check.
I was wondering,
Where?
there isn't one.
So this is like
How long could they keep you on pre-trial and not give you a trial?
unconvicted of a crime, under house arrest for
Almost 6 years.
6 years, and you have no idea when you get the day in court.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Remember how long it took to go through high school? Freshman year, people awkward. You got into the sports, homecoming, prom, summer break, all the studying you had to do for all the tests, sophomore year, junior year, summer break, senior year, your arms, all the stuff, all the tests. 4 years, right? To go through all of high school. Hundreds of tests you took for all your classes. This is one case. And they've already spent almost as much time as it takes to get a doctorate in university on one case.
Or a JD.
Dude. It's ridiculous. Case dismissed. You got to drop this. And nobody wants to. What would I do when they do drop it is take the money that they've graciously saved for me so that I wouldn't go off court. Well, on stupid crap.
Right.
I mean, I did spend $2,500 on a house, 2,500 Bitcoin on a house, which is now worth 250 million bucks. If they would have only just taken,
Oh my gosh.
years, gave me back 250 million, right? Anyways, I gave away 10,000 Bitcoins for free.
Oh,
For free. Hey, you know what a Bitcoin is? No, here's a Bitcoin. Here's a Bitcoin. They were $1 back then. Here's a Bitcoin. Here's a Bitcoin.
why didn't you?
Bitcoin to everyone I ran into for free. With on my wallet, I had 66,000 Bitcoins.
That's incredible.
Dude. So it's like $7 billion today. So I was very generous. And I still am. I have a lot of projects that are close to my heart that I'd like to see to fruition.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive. And so,
Do you think you learned anything? I mean, do you think you're a better person for this?
sure. And I've learned a lot, and I just trust God more. Everything in His timing, I'm totally cool. If He wants to be a billionaire, great. If He wants to be broke, great. If He wants to be in jail, great. If He wants to be free, great. I literally don't care. I'm just a vessel. I'm happy to do His work wherever I'm planted. So it's Miami right now, but maybe it's somewhere else a little later. To me, I'm cool with it all. So, there's things that I want to see done. I'm still young. I'm 43 years old, so I got another 60 years. Now it's raising myself. I mean, I'm literally being forced to stay home with my wife, not drink, not do drugs, be with my child. Beautiful spot. Florida's beautiful, and friends. I can still see family, friends. I mean, it's like God's put me in a position so I can be focused on the things that truly matter. Anyways, my family. Right.
Yeah, your story is obviously vastly different than mine, but there was a similar thing in which I had this great life and I had to walk away from it to pursue things that were not profitable. This is not a money-making enterprise, being a journalist and interviewing people and things like that, but it mattered to me because for me, we have our children that we have to protect. And, every generation has its own fight. This is our fight this time right now. But
all this censorship,
if
you're giving a voice to people that have been canceled.
If we don't fix all of the mechanisms of government now, by the time our kids are 20 years old,
they're going to be microchips.
There will be,
or
they will have no options. They will have no chance to win their fight. And that's what we're fighting for now, is to give them a battlefield.
Yeah. That been raked over the coals. And so it's great to see who your real friends are, who comes to your rescue, people that help you without any kind of expectation to be paid back. I don't like to take, and not, of course, I've always been a giver, but
I think of it like, when people see you drowning, you learn who your friends are by who offers you a handshake or a hand, or who gives you a glass of water. Yeah.
So the point is, when you have lots of money, people are afraid, oh, well, do you got the private island, the private jet, and the fancy cars, and da-da-da-da. So everybody wants to be your friend. So now you're like, well, which one of these people are just scammers and leeches and parasites and looters and all this, versus who are your real core friends? So I recommend everybody that's wealthy lose it all once or twice.
Sure.
Just to find out who your real friends are, so you can keep your core circle.
That is, I get it.
An average millionaire has lost it all a couple times before they figured out how to keep it.
Yeah.
So, it's just part of life. And, but hopefully justice will be served. There's a new sheriff in town. And so I'm hoping that somebody can get to him, or, Pam Bondi or Alina Habba, and let them know this is some leftover lawfare. And,
it's just going back to the whole legal situation that we're in right now. I have seen a small town in Orange County, California, go after a homeless lady for 42 pretrial hearings for an open container on a sidewalk. I have seen a woman run over 2 people drunk driving, or allegedly drunk driving. And the second one, they didn't give her a breathalyzer, and they let her thaw out in the car, in the police car, for 6 hours.
It's your legal system.
Why is this? it's so unfair. I mean, I understand that the purpose of law is to provide a framework because, you know, half the people out there, they have no inner dialogue or inner monologue. They don't really think. Isn't that insane?
Some of them can't even read. I was in jail with guys that are full-on adults, 20s, 30s. Can't even read. Came up to me one day. Can you tell me what constitutional rights are? Like, he's like, I heard about these things called constitutional rights.
Wow.
And I was just like, so I ended up being the law library jailhouse lawyer. Just imagine the white guys sitting there in the law library at the computer and a line of 10 black guys, or not just blacks, Mexicans, everybody, standing in line waiting to talk to me with their paperwork in hand.
It's very Shawshank Redemption of you.
Next, getting people bail, getting people firing their lawyers, getting them all this stuff.
You disrupt systems.
I made the currency for the prison.
Oh, wow.
Because there's no money in jail, so I had to create the money system for the jail. And they kept on moving me around from tier to tier to tier because I brought that. You know, it's just so funny. I came up with so many great solutions to stuff. I wrote a book. I have a docuseries.
Oh, nice.
You know, I had a camera crew follow me around the world.
Wow.
It's 175 countries.
Oh my God.
Filmed everything. I got massive content of all these great stories. In fact, when the feds found out I was doing a movie, they raided my camera guy and stole the footage. Stole what this footage?
Uh-oh.
It's crazy, right?
Right.
And they don't want this story to get out. Millions of people will watch this. I mean, it is. It's like Shawshank Redemption. It's a little Wolf of Wall Street, a little Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Don't underestimate how censored I am. But maybe the DOJ will watch this. And if you do, guys, come on. Let's just, you know what?
Sorry.
You know what?
Okay to be wrong.
Don't even say you're sorry. Just push the things back and, you know, take your pound of flesh, whatever you got to do.
Drop your charges.
Let's move on. This guy has a kid that's going to need dad at Little League and things like that. And that's actually, you don't want to be that way. So,
it's bad karma if you don't.
Joby, I'm so grateful. Thank you for letting me come down here. We definitely.
I haven't slept I slept a little bit. It was like, we were coming in every single hour, checking on us. I'm like, please leave us alone. Please leave it in this. My God, I just need to go to sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly how you feel.
Well, you're not going to get any sleep for about 7-8 months, but you have a better chance at getting your case dismissed and getting sleep in the next 6 months.
From your lips to God's ears, brother.
Joby Weeks, thank you so much for this interview and taking time away from your newborn baby.
Yeah. Well, let's go take some pictures of.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We're up there. We can put it in some of the B-roll.
Absolutely. This is video, so.
This is legendary King Sinclair Weeks, the one and only, or the first.
He wanted to put the first. I'm like, it's an obvious thing. If you don't need to put the first if it's only. The only.
Sweetest little thing.
Goodness. There you go.
Happy daddy.
Hey, Department of Justice. Can we please get approval to take the kid for a walk in a stroller? Thank you.
Crazy.
We're not a high flight strolling risk.